It's March 24th, 2022. I'm watching Eyewitness News at 7, or at 5, around, it's a 5 o'clock edition at it's Channel 7. And on comes a health alert. It's, it is a girl who is only like 25 or whatever, but she contracted what the hospital is referring to as COVID. She got some kind of heart thing that went on. She signed herself up. Now she's in New York. She signed herself up for something called a clinical trial. I don't like humans. I don't trust humans. I see that they have non-family members running New York City's medical and mental hygiene department with this Eric Adams and the previous, like the bad administration before Adams arrived. So I'm really not interested in giving them any blood specimens, any readings, any of my time, any of my personal information. If their entire hospital system died tomorrow, along with the Will McLean or whatever that the Sanjay guy, the lookalike for Sanjay, is running, which is like, I think that, what is that, Cornell? Right, yeah, okay. He's not allowed to touch my person. He's not allowed on racial bias under NIH standards. I don't want people like him having access to my specific Eugene. I'm a Jew. G-I-U. The guy for GIF, G-I-F, just passed away. So now they want this woman who looks kind of like me. This is how they're like just, I mean, you don't know who's in the health systems. You don't know who the directors are. You don't know who the executives are on the board of the hospital. You don't know anything. You just walk in. She signs up for a clinical trial. Now they tell her at 25 she has to go on heart medication. Oh, how convenient. For the rest of her life. And she has some like neuropathy, like nerve damage. So they're making up these diseases, selling drugs, and furthering their disgusting government system that they've installed with all sorts of other monopoly pieces that they should never have obtained inside the state of New York. I mean, the governor's name's Cuomo. Like, isn't that the word how? How now, brown cow? I mean, is in Adam's apple, this is the Eden, this is the Jesus fish. Je suis. Why is there so much operational, like, static here? Why did everything go so horrifically wrong? All at once. So now here's the Channel 7. This is Bill Ritter. It says health alert. And watch, just innocent victim. Not only did she contract COVID and have this heart thing and this nerve damage thing, but then she walks in and has to sign up for a clinical trial and has to deal with all of these, what I call non-essential equipment, but non-familial members asking her and descending on her. I mean, does she even know that they get paid at every time? I mean, there's no incentive to fix the weather causing these strokes and this heart dysrhythmia or arrhythmia. They get paid to purposely break this 25-year-old, and it looks like she's suffering from a slight case of obesity like myself. I mean, mine came out of nowhere. I don't know if she had sudden onset herself.
In tonight's health alert, the news about COVID has for too long been horrible. The hard truth is, the news is still bad. On top of the nearly 1 million Americans who have died so far of coronavirus, word tonight from the American Heart Association that deaths from heart disease and stroke.
They have heart associations. but yet they're mixed in with this Black Heart Association somehow.
Stroke have increased a lot during the pandemic. The long-term effects of COVID are indeed alive. Here's Darla Miles.
I was very short of breath all the time. My chest was really tight. My blood vessels were injured.
Blood vessels were injured. Wow, isn't that a wonderful way to say that the atmospheric pressure system and whoever's controlling the weather is doing a really shitty job over New York? I wonder whose college kid got that keyboard in really dumb places to allow breaks.
So they're having a harder time getting oxygen to move around.
The medical term for Kim Kinney's injured blood vessels, systematic vascular resistance. It's what she's had to deal with for the last 2 years after having COVID-19.
Like, you don't really want to be on heart medication at 25. Like, it seems kind of crazy.
Not crazy at all.
For them to physiologically, by poisoning your blood and changing the physical pH, like acidic level or pH level of the interior of your vascular and blood pipe structure is one thing. But then there's that second element, which is just to the exterior of the dermal surface. I mean, one is from an interior intrinsic value, the other's from an extrinsic value. And yeah, they're interdependent. I mean, you can change the pH of somebody's body by a few radio waves and microwaves, and then just whatever, they're rotting and cancer, and it causes cancer. But then there's this existential, like, extrinsic pressure system that is whatever. The humans use the word weather systems, weather patterns, that kind of thing. And then that hyperbolic pressure in chamber just outside of your physical skin and epidermis then changes the breathing, or can change the breathing volume, and can cause all sorts of collapsing of vascular arteries and things. I mean, it's a whole bioterrorism unit all to itself, without them even having to be physically in your proximity and touching you.
At all, especially in light of new research released.
And it's like they just want more victims inside the public healthcare system. So, like, they have more dolls to touch, more hours in the ER. I mean, it's really gross when you look at it from a macro perspective as a god, as a creator god, looking at all the children of Earth, and you don't like how they're breaking one another just to come in and fix one another in some disgusting mental disease, because they're all touched in the head as far as you're concerned, because they actively partake in this, and it doesn't have to be this way. This is what it looks like. And I don't see help on the horizon either.
Heart Association, which says from 2019 to 2020, the estimated age-adjusted mortality rate increased by 15.9%, largely due to COVID-19.
And then they make shit up. They make up results. They're like, yeah, what, 2.4%. Hey, what do you need on the Knicks? So this way, like, my retirement pension fund goes up. I mean, it's like, the possibilities are endless with the corrupt and the Bleeding Heart and Black Heart Foundation arguing at nobody gives a shit level because they're not breaking.
There's concern with it. I kind of had that inkling early on when I got COVID where I was like, we don't know what this means later in life.
Does this warning apply to both long COVID patients and just regular COVID patients?
The warning should apply equally, yes.
The warning applies to both normal COVID patients and long haulers alike, at 4.3% higher risk of heart disease and 6.4% higher risk of stroke.
This is a different type of...
They put a white guy up there. Isn't that nice for once? They really wanted to sew it all together. So nice they included us. I mean, I don't know how much, like, doctor-patient time he gets, if, like, it's just for the cameo, because it seems like they've been painting the doctor, like, and the lawyer scale with non-family members in North America, where there's a rock, paper, scissors system, and someone's going to pay in billing and taxation and taxidermy and biological warfare, and then there's nuclear warheads, and there's a whole theater system, and there's a whole statistical data analysis that goes into that with plugging in like points of whatever. But I don't understand why they mess with it. I don't. And I really don't understand why I've been forced to live here like one of them. I'm not. Never was. And I hate it here. It's Associate Director of Cardiology. And they've got something, HUMC. I have no idea what that means.
Of presentation of COVID or different consequence of COVID.
After a year of suffering shortness of breath, a tight chest, aches, and fatigue, Kitty did not hesitate to join a clinical trial.
And her name is Kitty. Oh my
at
goodness.
Hackensack University Medical Center, overseen by Dr. Landers, evaluating various treatments for heart and blood vessel disorders stemming from COVID-19.
Once this goes away, the hope would be that it's not problematic for me. But, you know, it's good to just know that it's something to keep an eye on later in life.
Darla Miles, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Now to pick up.
So it is a greater than anticipated problem on my end with the youth. She's only a couple of years older than Benjamin. Breaking. Growing. Like, I mean, I don't know if she's comfortable with her weight. I don't want to comment on it, but I'll comment on my own. I'm not happy with this weight ever. I haven't been since, like, the fluctuations started. But again, that has to do with the magnetic pressure. Polarization has to do with radio waves. Whole nine. So I don't understand. I mean, they've made money off this system, which now makes it harder to scale back and shut down. Because they're all in one, they're gathering, they're like, oh my gosh, like the Cohens or the Lowensteins, they built us a building, we're all gonna go practice in there. No. Not the way it works. We don't need outbreaks. I don't need outbreaks of more hospitals, more research, more clinical trials, more reasons for them never to fix the real problem, the existential problem in an extrinsic energy systems. But here we are, and now they've had one guy donate the funds for the initial problem with some whatever, and then everybody gangs up and piles in. Doctors, nurses, that shouldn't be because they're non-familial to the donating member, or the donating member's touched in the head, God forbid, and then allows commingling of blood banks. That's a problem. Because that's how you encourage more biological disease and germ warfare. It's a known fact. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxies, broken, Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.